As a young man, my father worked at a mechanical workshop here, and at that time, they just flushed pure mercury straight into the fjord. No one could swim here, and the fish just died. It's almost unreal that now the water is so clean that the city centre has become one of Norway's most popular places to swim. We can also fish for trout, both here and in most of the rivers in the city. I think both my father and the rest of the people in Oslo should be proud of that. The water is so clean, 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 clean.
Oslo was celebrated as Europe's Green Capital 2019 and emphasized its cleaning efforts and the Oslofjord's improved water quality in its application. Moreover, the scenic pictures of a recovered Oslofjord play a central role in its branding strategy as a sustainable tourist destination. We wanted to look beneath this shiny surface ourselves and went to investigate. So we went to an ocean cleanup event. We were divided into different cleanup parties and had people on stand-up paddleboards, free divers, scuba divers, as well as people on land. Then we all ventured out to sea, but we didn't really see all that much. So let's check out some of the things that we found. We found a ton of shit. At least 300-400 kilos. After the cleanup event, everyone went for a free sauna session and servings of vegan soup, giving us a sense of community and contributing to something. We were curious about what motivates people to join these cleanup events and what sort of feelings they're left with after. So we asked our co-participants a few questions.
What was your motivation for joining the cleanup today?
So it was actually my third time at the cleanup, and I just find it nice to kind of contribute something to like cleaner environment.
I would probably feel connection with any piece of nature, and it hurts seeing it like being trashed and dirty, you know. So it's just like a natural instinct probably just to go and pick up that garbage.
So how do you feel after contributing today?
Really good. I like the event, and yeah, I think for me it's great to participate in it. It's good to collecting trash and showing that what is going on under the water, what you couldn't see if you were above, like normal. And I like that many people here are concerned about this stuff, and it's like also then in the face of the social activities. Good evening.
It's good evening. Yeah. Do you see pollution as the main issue for the Oslofjord and surrounding area, or maybe other things?
Well, I think the environmental issues are really complex, so that's definitely littering the Oslofjord is not the only issue, but it's a part, and it's a huge part of the bigger kind of scale problem.
What do you think are the biggest issues facing the Oslofjord?
Definitely the pollution from the agriculture, that is, I think, the main issue. But it's also polluted by other kind of trash, obviously.
We wanted to know more about the cleanup organization itself. Then we talked to one of the board members and the organizer of the event we attended.
As the organization, what are the biggest challenges to the pollution in the Oslofjord?
I mean, we do a lot, and you can just see from the rubbish that we take out that we do a lot. But since we, as a very small volunteer organization without any funds, like if we can do that, and we can do that on the same spot every single Monday, you just know that the issue is so much bigger. But it's a political issue. It's a cultural issue. And one thing is the rubbish that gets in. We need to stop the rubbish in itself so that there's no rubbish to pick. But there's also, with agriculture, for example, one of the biggest killers of marine life in the Oslofjord is all the pollution. So there's so much particle pollution, whether that comes from agriculture, but algae growth and stuff, so that there's not enough light and oxygen for the species that should thrive to thrive. And instead there's there's no sugar kelp, there's no cod left, mussels, they're disappearing. And it's just because of a toxic, acidic environment in the ocean, and that stems from so many things. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult to clean the water. It's very inaccessible. At the same time, it's very out of sight, out of mind. People don't think of the pollution under the water because they just see this beautiful water on the surface, and then you go down there and it's disgusting. So it's very like an out of sight, out of mind mentality. But it's hard to clean it. And there's no institutional powers to clean it, really. They have Pelican, which is a boat that goes and collects trash on the surface, but it's not really enough. And there's lots of like trash collecting stuff down Akerselva, but like they implement it and then they don't implement the structures to follow up and empty it. So they try to do something, but then they don't have a plan to follow it up.
As we have seen today, you do have a lot of achievements. Can you elaborate on the achievements that you can see that the organization has had, like, further on?
I mean, it's been running for 7 years, but it's only this last year that we've made it as an organizational entity in itself. So it's not like an event that's run through the company. It's an actual organization. And last year we picked up 2 tons of rubbish. This year so far we've had, don't necessarily quote me on it, but you can find it on Ryd Norge, but we've cleaned more than 5 tons of rubbish, and there's been combined almost 1,000 volunteers participating in the events. And I think that's amazing, and that's so cool, and it's great, and it shows how much we can do, but we just need the people who's willing to do it. Absolutely. So that's definitely some major and big achievements.
What are your views on the future of the Oslofjord?
That's a tricky one, and it's a difficult one. It's I know it's a high priority, especially since the United Nations climate report that came out. There's been a lot of discussions on it in media. The different political parties have different views and opinions of it. Some want to ban the use of the Oslofjord, which I think is silly, because I hope that the people who want to go swimming in it wants it to be a clean ocean. But moving towards a more green, a slightly more green government. I hope that there will be some good, important restrictions in place. And then there's Norway is a boat culture company, and safe to say the boats do provide and create a lot of rubbish. But like here, they have an electric boat spot, and I think that it's great if we can start using the fjord in a more sustainable way as well, because I think it's bullshit with all the fossil fueled boats that people just simmer around in the fjord with.
We are left with a feeling that there are more perspectives to consider here. Then we went out to talk to an ecologist about the more correct state, or the true state, of the Oslofjord.
What do you think about Oslo being celebrated as the green capital of Europe, and how the fjord is presented in those advertisements?
I think a lot of people know that it's quite biased. It's results of the competition for being the environmental capital. in that there's a lot of things that make it not very true that it's a very environmental capital, and that the Oslofjord is a clean and healthy ecosystem is it's very well known for researchers, especially sea researchers, that it's not a very healthy fjord.
What does the government do, and how do you evaluate what they do to prevent agricultural pollution?
The governments have started for some years now to have subsidies for farmers to do preventative measures for erosion, which is the right way of trying to solve a problem, is making it profitable for a farmer to prevent this.
We visited Svein, a local vegetable farmer, to ask him about his perspective on the government subsidies, but also on the narrative of agricultural pollution in general.
What kind of measures does the government propose to reduce agricultural pollution, and how are these measures received by farmers, and how do they affect farmers?
Yeah, if the pollution or erosion, we advised to make a green zone at least 6 meters from the waterway or the lake. The green zone should not be plowed, and normally it's grass, because that gives a lot of roots that binds the soil together, and that belt is also taking up nutrition that comes with the erosion from the field above. They also put all fields is classified into different erosion classes, and for some of the which are above a certain level, you get money to not plow them at the bottom. And most farmers try to follow that, because there is some extra support from the state to follow those measurements.
Warming climate, we experience much more heavy rains. How does that affect you?
That's a big problem, because the plumbing system of the fields must be up to date. So the farmers are getting more costs to plumb it. Of course, you get support from the society to do it, but it still is a cost. And of course, the heavy rain is also all the work with erosion is kind of gone with the rain we have had, like the last 3-4 days, with a lot of rain. So all the measurements we have done is kind of destroyed with the climate change heavy rain. But in the 50s, 60s or 70s or something like that, they didn't have knowledge about the consequences of the extinguished material. They used the foam, was PFAS, and that is a pollutant that goes very well in water, and it binds itself to human flesh, animals, all crops. And that single incident has more impact than all the farmers all around. So the narrative about the farming is the most polluting part for it. Also, for it seems sometimes, in some incidences, a bit off.
What do you think when people say that our forefathers would be proud of us for restoring the quality of the fjord, making it suitable to swim in?
I think that's mostly because what they're thinking about then is how in marinas, for example, there's always been a lot of pollution, and maybe our grandparents grew up with the marinas outside of Oslo being very polluted with chemicals, which we've since cleaned up. those worst chemicals and pollutants there. But since the inner Oslofjord has been in a degraded state, or it has been polluted for so long, the ecosystem is not in a worse state now than it was back then, as there was still fishing going on, for example, back then, even though there was more pollution in marinas.
From our conversations, we learned that pollution in the Oslofjord is a complex problem with many actors. We left our investigation with more questions than answers, but it became clear that the greenwashed image of the fjord that Oslo puts forth is dubious, if not harmful. Presenting a swimmable fjord devoid of marine life as clean reduces our imagination what a healthy ecosystem can or should be. It breeds complacency, allowing some to celebrate projects such as the municipality-led Oslofjord CleanUP. Between 2006-2008, a vast amount of contaminated seafloor was dredged from the city harbor, and the still contaminated material was deposited in a deep water basin at Malmö. But is it simply relocating our waste really a solution? Where is the bar for success, and who sets it? Is success to attract more eco-tourists and increase the value of waterfront condominiums? What kind of fjord do we strive for? What kind of fjord can you imagine?